So we're going to talk about safety now with infants. Um, when we talk about causes of deaths and injury, even the same cause the circumstances can change due to development. So the major causes of death and injury for infants are suffocation, MVC, drowning, falls, burns. Okay. There are other causes, but those are major causes of death and injury. So we want to think about how that relates to child development. Everything goes back to understanding where a child is developmentally at that stage and what they can do. So what can a newborn do? They usually cannot control their head or their body well. So if they're left in the bathtub, they may roll over or flip and drown, right? What can an 8-month-old do? They might be able to crawl around and get to a mop bucket, fall over, but they're top heavy, so they can't get back out. So that's how the drowning risk can change. So I want you to think about each of those, but you really, instead of trying to memorize a list, think about that development. Infants require constant vigilance and supervision. An infant should be either directly supervised. Infants require constant supervision, and if they can't be eyes on supervised, then they need to be in a place where they can't get to anything that can be hurt. They can hurt them. They need to be in a proper vehicle restraint every time they're in a vehicle. For infants under a year old, that's going to be a rear-facing car seat. I believe rear-facing actually goes up to at least 2 years old now. So rear-facing car seat, it needs to be properly installed. It needs to be in the back seat, preferably in the middle. Okay, that is the safest. When putting a child into a car seat, parents need to know that the straps are properly adjusted, that they're snug enough, and they need to not have too much padding on that baby. If they've got 2 or 3 layers and a coat or a wrapper of some kind, and then buckle the baby inside all of that, the baby actually, all of that wrapping will compress and the baby can come out in an accident. The forces of an accident are much higher than people realize. So if it's cold weather, the baby needs to be in indoor clothing, put into the car seat, and then covered with a blanket or some sort of wrap. They should sleep with nothing in the crib except the baby and a flat sheet. Nothing on top, no blankets, no stuffed animals, no toys, no bumper pads. All of those things increase suffocation hazard because younger babies especially can get trapped underneath those. The crib needs to have the correct size slats or the correct distance between slats. If the slats are too wide apart, like some older cribs, the baby's head can get trapped. The mattress needs to fit the crib properly so that the baby can't get wedged between the mattress and the frame. Bed sharing is not recommended because of the risk of suffocation. Some families are going to bed share anyway. So we recommend against bed sharing, but if they are sharing a bed with an infant, there are things that make it more dangerous. One of the most dangerous things is falling asleep with the baby on a couch or in a chair recliner of some sort. There are crevices the baby can get into and become trapped and suffocate. If either of the people in the bed with the baby are obese, it can create a bigger indentation and the baby can roll over and get trapped into that space more easily. If anyone in the bed is taking sedating medications or substances, they're less likely to wake up with the baby, and there's a greater risk of suffocation. No one should be in the bed with the baby except parents. Babies should be put on their back to sleep. A baby should never be left unattended on a surface. So parents have put the baby on the changing table, turn around to grab a diaper, turn back around, the baby has fallen off. So the baby should never be left unattended on a surface. Mobile walkers, the kind of walker that actually moves, are a safety hazard. They're a major fall hazard. Babies should not be left unattended around any standing water, and that includes toilet or mop bucket, things like that. They shouldn't be left unattended in a bath. Even when they can sit up, if they fall over, they're too top heavy to get back up. Choking and suffocation hazards should be out of reach. Cords on the blinds, toys, things like that. Any kind of long cord can get wrapped around the baby's neck. So those things need to be short or out of reach. Stairways should be fenced. Hot objects should be out of reach. If someone is cooking, the handle of the pot should be turned around so that the baby can't reach up and grab it. Poisons and caustic chemicals and other dangerous substances should be stored properly. The poison control number needs to be posted. The last thing I want to talk about with safety is violence. Infants are helpless, and so infants who are being abused may have worse injuries. They don't have any way to protect themselves. Education is not going to help people who hurt children on purpose. The only thing that stops them is getting the child out of their reach. But an understanding of child development and planning appropriate responses to frustrating behavior can prevent abuse that's due to frustration, poor coping skills, or inappropriate discipline. So we're talking about different types of abuse. Some children are abused because their parents or their caregivers just want to hurt children or just don't care. But some families don't understand child development. They don't have good coping skills. And so when a child exhibits a behavior that's frustrating, the caregiver injures them or disciplines too harshly or disciplines inappropriately or in an abusive way. Education may help those families, okay? In the next section, we're going to start talking about some common health concerns.